Shalom. I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Kwagadash, double honors to all the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and salutations to the hopeful light scattered abroad at the four corners of the earth. Esau is a cunning hunter. I came across this video. This Edomite is running around in the wilderness hunting for squirrels, and he's trying to prepare a squirrel parmesan dish, I guess you can call it, which sounds nasty. It just sounds nasty, and it even looks nasty when you watch the video. I'm gonna put the video link in the description box so y'all can watch it for yourselves. I advise y'all watch it. It's pretty interesting, and you get to really see how good of a shot Esau is. Esau, the so-called white man, they start shooting guns at a very early age. They be having they rifles and they pistols and they shotguns, and that goes into their blessing. But I'm gonna get into that in the video. So this dude has a companion with him, helping him hunt squirrels. He appears to be mixed, probably a tear, and also another thing that stood out to me in this video, towards the end, these dudes had the nerve to pray over their food. Now, we all should know that squirrel is not kosher. Squirrel is unclean. So, for them to pray over their food and try to bless their food, and with them being Edomites, it's just an abomination. It's just like all messed up. So, watching this video, a few scriptures came to my mind. So let me read Genesis chapter 25, verse 21. Now this goes into the birth of the first so-called white man, Esau. Esau is the progenitor of the so-called white race. So Genesis chapter 25, verse 21. And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife because she was barren, and the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived. So Isaac prayed to the Most High. Isaac prayed to the Most High, to have for his wife to be able to bear children. She couldn't get pregnant, Rebekah, and the Lord ended up answering Isaac's prayer. Verse 22, and the children struggled together within her, and she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord. So, the children were struggling within Rebekah's womb, and that was causing her pain. She was having contractions. And you go on to read verse 23. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. So it says 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. Rebekah was impregnated, and she was carrying unidentical twins, Esau and Jacob. And they're 2 different nations. You understand? They're unidentical twins. So picture this: a so-called white baby in a womb and a so-called black child in the womb together. And actually, let me read it again from the top. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. Verse 24. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. Now, like it said in the 23rd verse, it said the eldest shall serve the youngest. The first came out red, and that was Esau. So that makes him the oldest. And the second came out, um, normal. The second came out with melanin. That's why I didn't describe the way Jacob looked. I'm kind of jumping ahead of myself, but I'm getting to the point with this. So yeah, where was I? And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. So that's the first so-called white man on the earth right there, Esau, and Esau means wasted away. Verse 26, and after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold of Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 old when she bare them. So yeah, they didn't describe the way Jacob looked because he came out looking normal. He had melanin. Esau came out with no melanin. He was leprous, and his blood was showing through his skin. It was red. And notice how even today they refer to so-called white people as rednecks. So there you go. That's the first white man that was born. Esau is the progenitor of the so-called white race. Esau Edom. And Edom means red. Edom. The Edomites. That's what so-called white people are. That's their nationality. They're Edomites. And Esau is their forefather. So verse 27, and the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man, dwelling in tents. So Esau is a so-called white man, and Jacob is the 12 tribes of Israel. Jacob went on to have 12 sons, and that Jacob represents the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. So next scripture, Genesis chapter 27. I'm going to start off at the 36th verse. And he said, is not he rightly named Jacob? For he has supplanted me these 2 times. Jacob means supplanter. For he has supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and behold, now he has taken away my blessing. And he said, hast thou not reserved a blessing for me? So when you read about the whole story, that's just the way the Most High wanted it, to play out. Jacob posed as Esau, the firstborn, and put on the sheep. I believe it was sheepskin or lambskin. And because Esau was hairy, so when he went over to his father Isaac, and Isaac was blind and couldn't see, and he fooled his father, tricked his father into him thinking that he was Esau, and Isaac gave Jacob the blessing, and Jacob's blessing is the fatness of the earth. So that's just a quick rundown, of the story. If y'all want, y'all could read, Genesis chapter 27 for yourselves, But where was I? Verse 37, and Isaac answered and said unto Esau, behold, I have made him thy lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for service, and with corn and wine have I sustained him. What shall I do now unto thee, my son? And Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and the dew of heaven from above. So yeah, Esau does get a blessing, and part of it is the fatness of the earth, In this current world that we live in today, this is Esau's kingdom. This is his world. The book of Job, chapter 9, verse 24 says that the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. And by process of the elimination, who is the wicked? Who rules the world today? It's the so-called white man. So, being that Esau, the so-called white man, is in rulership, the 12 tribes of Israel, Jacob are going to be the ones that are in mourning at that point in time. The two can't rule together. They even struggled in the womb together. So there's no harmony between the two. You understand? So once Yahweh Shai comes back to the world ignorantly called Jesus Christ, he's going to throw down Esau's kingdom, Esau, Edom. And, Jacob, the 12 tribes of Israel, we're going to rule. We're going to have our kingdom. You understand? So the tables will turn. But, like I said, as it stands right now, Esau is in rulership. He has the fatness of the earth. He's the one who's got military bases in many different countries around the world. You understand? So, and verse, I think I was at verse 39. And Isaac, his father, answered and said unto him, Behold, that thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and the dew of heaven from above, and by the sword shalt thou live. Now that's part of Esau's blessing, the sword. Now the modern day sword is the gun. Esau's the one who's got all these gun manufacturing companies, Esau's the one who starts shooting guns at a very early age. Esau's the one who has an affinity for guns, for weapons and, rifles, They're the ones who like to go out there hunting, for the most part. So, that's Esau's blessing, the sword. And it goes on to say, and shall serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass that thou shalt have a dominion, and thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And Esau hated Jacob because the blessing where within his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand, then will I slay my brother Jacob. So Esau, he hates Jacob to this day. Jacob is the so-called black man, the so-called Hispanic, and so-called Native American. That's the people today, the Israelites. And that's the reason why, so-called white people hate us. Because spiritually, they understand that we're blessed, They envy us. So, it's a spiritual reason, It's within their subconscious, their hatred for us. And that's because we have the birthright and we have the blessing, Like I said, the roles are going to reverse. Esau's up right now, but they're going to be down once the Lord comes back. And not just Esau, but the other nations, they're going to be up underneath us when we're in our rulership. We're going to be royalty. You understand? We're going to have the fatness of the earth. So, let me get another scripture. This is Proverbs 15, verse 29. The Lord is far from the wicked, but he heareth the prayer of the righteous. Now, who is the wicked? The wicked is the so-called white man, Esau, Edom, All you have to do is read Malachi chapter 1. But he heareth the prayer of the righteous. So, going back to what I said earlier, I mentioned earlier how, towards the end of this video, these dudes, had the nerve to pray and try to bless their squirrel dish. When squirrel's not even kosher, and on top of that, they're Edomites. They're the wicked. So the Most High is not hearing them. The Most High is not dealing with them. The Most High is only dealing with Jacob, the 12 tribes of Israel. So, let me read it again one more time. The Lord is far from the wicked, but he heareth the prayer of the righteous. Now, who is the righteous? Jacob, the Israelites. And even though there are 2/3 of Israelites that are wicked and are gonna be cut off and not gonna make it, when the destruction comes, when the missiles come, when those drop, and also when Yahushua comes back with the chariots, aka the UFOs, to destroy this place, 2/3 of Drake aren't gonna, they're not gonna survive. They're not gonna make it. But what's gonna happen is that they're gonna come back through the elect. They're gonna be born as the elect's children. 2/3. So even though they're wicked right now, ultimately they're the righteous. Ultimately they're the righteous. So let me get another scripture. Romans 11 verse 26. And so all Israel shall be saved, as it is written, there shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob. So all Israel's going to be saved. And that's ultimately, what the new covenant is about, the ones that don't make it are going to come back to the elect, and they're going to be righteous, and they're going to know that they're Israelites. We're no longer going to sin. We're going to be made perfect. So, like I said, that's what the new covenant is about. And, Yahushua, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, he did a great thing for the nation of Israel by, laying down on the cross, hanging on the cross, and, giving his life for the nation of Israel, being sacrificed for the nation of Israel. He did a great thing for us. He redeemed us. So, yeah, that's it on that. Like I said, I'll put the link to the video in the description box so y'all can watch it for yourselves. It's a real interesting video. So, hope you found this video edifying. Shalom.